Kelvin Ward, the 50-year-old father of three, who was stabbed to death by gang members who were looking to kill his son. This story takes place in Birmingham, in the Castle Bromwich, Solihull area, a suburban village popular with families and older residents. 50-year-old Kelvin Ward was like any other hard-working man. He's described by his family as a loving person and a devoted dad. He lived with his wife for 20 years, 19-year-old son Dylan, and 2 daughters. But little did he know that his son being part of a gang would cost him his life. It's not actually known when Dylan joined the gang, but this is the reality of gang culture in the UK and all around the world. These gangs often exploit vulnerable children and teenagers as young as 12 to be part of the gang and be involved in drug operations and violence. Kelvin Ward, being a devoted dad and being known to always look out for his children, would get himself into a situation where his love for his child would see him stare death straight in the face, as his final moments were caught on camera. A couple months before the situation takes place, Kelvin's son Dylan would have a falling out with 4 members of his group: Tyrone, Leighton, Aaron and Rashawn, people he considered friends. It's alleged that this falling out happened because of some sort of damage Dylan caused to Aaron's home, but the fine details of this feud is not actually known. It's after the group became enemies with Dylan that they would attempt to get revenge and try to attack him multiple times. For 3 nights before the murder, the 4 gang members would target Kelvin's home in an attempt to get Dylan to come outside. On these 3 nights, the gang would set fire to the cars on the driveway, throw bricks at the window, and carried zombie knives waiting outside the door. On one of the nights, a gun was fired at the house and members tried breaking in through the back door. Dylan had retreated upstairs with some friends, and attackers were unable to get him. It was at this point that Kelvin and his wife Tammy would start to get worried and move the family out of the house. On April 18, 2023, Tyrone, Leighton, Aaron and Rashawn would get hold of a stolen Ford Cougar with fake plates, black mask and knives, and the group would start making their way around the Castle Bromwich area looking for Dylan and ready to attack. Around the same time, Kelvin and Dylan left their new home to return a borrowed car and decided to pick up food from KFC on their way back. The group of 4 teenagers had spotted Dylan driving his dad's car around 8 PM and started following them, watching from afar. In CCTV footage, you can see Kelvin carrying the food back to the car, and as Dylan drove off, Tyrone Hollywood, who was driving the stolen Ford Cougar, rammed into the Corsa at full speed. Dylan, realizing this was a setup, would continue driving, trying to get away from the gang that was chasing him. Tyrone, who was behind the wheel, kept ramming into the back of the car Dylan and Kelvin was in, until the airbags eventually went off, forcing the car to come to a stop. It was at this moment that Dylan got out of the car and started running for his life. All 4 gang members would chase Dylan down the road with machetes, as one of the attackers screams, quote, "Alright, don't leave him fam, get him fucking now, keep chasing him." Dylan, by only the grace of God, was able to find someone who let him borrow their electric bike to escape the gang that was trying to kill him. This is when Tyrone and Aaron will run back to their car to chase Dylan, who was now on a bike. What the gang didn't know was as they were chasing Dylan, Kelvin got into the Ford Cougar that had been left on the road, and he started driving it in the direction that his son was running off in. Whilst Kelvin was driving to save his son, he spotted Tyrone, who was hopping over a railing trying to get back to the car. Kelvin drove the vehicle straight at Tyrone, but missed and crashed into the railings instead. The gang would now set their eyes on Kelvin. In their heads, the next best thing would be to get the father of the person they wanted to kill. These next couple minutes will be Kelvin fighting for his life as he stares death straight in the face. In CCTV footage, you can see Aaron Coates pass a zombie knife to Tyrone, which is when he now hunts down Kelvin. Tyrone goes on to swing the knife at Kelvin multiple times to get over the railings that were separating the two. Kelvin screamed for help and even tried to flag down a blue car that was passing by to let him in. Tyrone continued to chase down Kelvin as the 50-year-old man attempted to slow down the attack. As Tyrone continued to swing his knife at Kelvin, another one of the gang members, Leighton, returned from the failed attempt to kill Dylan and joined in the attack on Kelvin. He started shouting, "Kill him, everyone kill him," as they now surrounded Kelvin with machetes. Leighton now stabs Kelvin in the chest and punctures his heart, which causes severe bleeding as Kelvin now drops to the floor. The gang wasn't done yet, as Tyrone would now start taunting the dying man and waving his machete in his face before stabbing him as he bled on the floor. The attackers would run away and all 4 gang members would get into a car that was waiting for them a few streets away. Ambulance and police would arrive shortly after, but it was too late because Kelvin Ward had lost so much blood from being stabbed straight in the heart. The father of 3 died trying to protect his son. West Midlands police will launch a manhunt to find the killers of Kelvin Ward. The gang wiped all their phones, burned their weapons to destroy all evidence linking back to them. Thanks to CCTV footage, doorbell footage and ANPR, investigators tracked the gang's movement before, during and after the murder. Along with all the evidence and witness statements, police were able to identify all 4 members of the gang, and all that was left now was to arrest them and for the gang to stand trial. You can see body-worn footage of police arresting Leighton Williams at his home address in Birmingham.
Leighton Williams, come to the front door! Do it now! Leighton, walk down the stairs now! Let's leave your option, please. Let's prep, let's leave. Leighton! Walk your hands down! Walk towards me! Keep walking! Keep walking! What's ID? What's ID? What's your ID? What's your name? Leighton, you got any weapons on you? No!
The trial will now take place and police use phone location data, messages and forensic evidence to build a timeline of the events. They also found a getaway car that the gang members used and eventually recovered DNA traces, clothing fibers and witness testimony, placing all 4 at the scene. It was also noted that during the police interviews, none of the killers showed any remorse. Some even tried to blame others or claimed they weren't involved, despite the amount of evidence put forward. The jury also heard that the defendants had tried to kill Dylan, but was forced to kill his dad instead after Dylan escaped on the e-bike. The gang had also on several occasions gone to the Ward family household with weapons, looking to attack Dylan. It was said had Dylan not got away on the e-bike, Kelvin would have been mourning his son today. Leighton Williams, 28 years old, from Shard End, had a long criminal record involving knives, firearms and drugs. He was found by the court to be the one who delivered a fatal chest wound to Kelvin that ultimately killed him. Leighton was also on license at the time of Kelvin's murder, and being a much older member of the group, it was questioned why he was doing such a thing. He was sentenced to 29 years in prison for the murder of Kelvin Ward, alongside a concurrent life sentence for conspiracy to murder Dylan Ward with a minimum of 12 years. Tyrone Hollywood from Ward End was a troubled teenager and being expelled from school with previous offences including robbery and drug dealing at just the age of 16. He was found to be the one driving the stolen car that rammed into Kelvin's car. Tyrone had also chased Kelvin with a machete and participated in the stabbing of the innocent father. He was previously stabbed himself as part of another gang dispute and still remained on the streets looking for trouble. Tyrone was sentenced to 19 years in prison for the murder of Kelvin Ward, alongside a concurrent life sentence for conspiracy to murder Dylan Ward with a minimum of 10 years. Aaron Coates, 18 years old, from Shard End, was described as having wasted talent. He was considered a smart kid who fell into bad hands. It was found that he handed Tyrone the knife that took Kelvin's life. Aaron was sentenced to 21 years in a Young Offenders Institute for conspiracy to murder and manslaughter, with at least 14 years before he's eligible for license. Rashawn Williams Reed, 18 years old from Castleville, was cleared of manslaughter as he didn't directly stab Kelvin. However, he did chase Dylan with a weapon and was handed a 13.5-year sentence in the Young Offenders Institute for conspiracy to murder. He will serve 9 years before he can be considered for license. CCTV and doorbell footage captured everything, and forensic evidence from the stolen car linked back to all 4 suspects. At the end of the sentencing, the judge described the murder as planned through a combination of deliberate malice, inexperience, and negative influences. It was said that Dylan returned to the scene once police and ambulance arrived and had to watch his father bleed out on the floor with the guilt that his gang involvement was part of the reason his dad is now dead. The wife Tammy will also arrive at the scene to see her husband in a pool of blood. She said, quote, "Kelvin's eyes were open for a moment, then they were closed. Everything around me blurred as I heard police and paramedics apologizing to me, giving their condolences." This is the sad reality of gang violence and how it doesn't just affect you, but the people around you. Kelvin was an innocent father just trying to protect his son, but his life was cut short by a bunch of teenage gang members who were looking to take a life that day. Kelvin's brother David will speak on the situation, and you can hear the pain in his voice as he now has to live with the fact that his brother was murdered and left to die in the middle of the road.
Just to actually fully describe how we feel. With my family, we have to go to a grave to visit my brother. If you make a choice to carry a knife, if you make a choice to associate with people that go around regularly with knives, you've made a choice, you've made a decision. Every single time, it's your choice.
Like I say in every outro, if you take anything from this video, let it be that the gang life is truly not something you want to be involved in. You got family and friends that fully care for you, so stay smart and let me know in the comments if I missed anything. I'll see you lot in the next one. God bless.